Hello friends, this is Ashutosh Bajpai. Here in this slide, I'll be discussing about the voice. So let's begin. As you all know that voice is completely based on the tenses. So first I'll be telling you how we have to change from active to passive in individual tenses. The first one is simple present tense. The rule for the active voice is subject plus verb first form plus SES plus object. Rule for passive voice: object plus ismr plus third form the verb plus by plus subject. Example for active voice: Rita writes a letter. An example for passive voice: a letter is written by Rita. Present continuous tense, or you may say this present progressive tense. Rule for this: subject plus verb first form plus ing plus object. For passive voice: object plus ismr plus being plus verb third form plus by plus subject. Here is the example for active voice: Rita is writing a letter. Example for passive voice: a letter is being written by Rita. Present perfect tense. Rule for active voice: subject plus has have plus verb third form plus object. Rule for passive voice: object plus has been, have been plus verb third form plus by plus subject. Here is the example: Rita has written a letter. Example for passive voice: a letter has been written by Rita. Simple past tense means past indefinite tense. Rule for active voice: subject plus second form of the verb plus object. Passive voice: object plus was or were plus verb third form plus by plus subject. First example: Rita wrote a letter. For active voice. Example for passive voice is a letter was written by Rita. Past progressive. Rule for active voice: subject plus verb first form plus ing plus object. For passive voice: object plus was were plus being plus verb third form plus by plus subject. Here is the example: Rita was writing a letter. Example for passive voice: a letter was being written by Rita. Past perfect tense. Rule for active voice: subject plus had plus verb third form plus object. Rule for passive voice: object plus had been plus verb third form plus by plus subject. Here is the example for active voice: Rita had written a letter. Example for passive voice: a letter had been written by Rita. Future indefinite. Rule for active voice: subject plus will shall plus first form the verb plus object. Rule for passive voice: object plus will be shall be plus verb third form plus by plus object. Example for active voice: Rita will write a letter. Example for passive voice: a letter will be written by Rita. Future perfect. Rule for active voice: subject plus will have plus shall have plus verb third form plus object. For passive voice: object plus will have been shall have been plus verb third form plus by plus subject. Here is the example. First for active voice: Rita will have written a letter. Example for passive voice: a letter will have been written by Rita. I don't know either you noticed or not, but I didn't cover these four tenses in the rules of the active voice to passive voice. Why? Because there is no passive voice as per the rules. First one is present perfect continuous, second past perfect continuous, third future perfect continuous, and last future continuous. Means indirectly I can say that for all perfect continuous tenses there is no passive voice. The last future continuous, no passive voice for this also. So don't get confused if you get any sentence from present perfect continuous or from past perfect continuous or future perfect continuous or last from future continuous. There is no need to create a passive voice for that, because as per the rules we cannot create. So that's it for the basics of the passive voice. In the next slide I'll be talking about the expansion of the passive voice with rules and examples. Till the time, stay blessed. God bless you. If you like this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe this channel on YouTube. Thanks a lot. Thank you.